man. I appreciate it. Thank you, everybody, for allowing me to come and hang out with you guys today. I'm excited. I am from Northern California my entire life, and I just moved to Orange County in the last 4 months. So yeah, meeting Johnny was a great thing for us. We're going out, we're meeting and greeting people, and I'm super excited to meet with you guys all here because I'd love for you to be part of our team, part of our family, and just be hanging out with cool people, man. You guys are all here early morning, 7 a.m. So I know you guys are go-getters and action takers. Johnny, can you do me a favor? Can you make me co-host while I do a little bit of an introduction so I can share a couple of things?
Yeah,
Um,
definitely. You're there right now.
Okay, thank you. So again, my name is Raul Lopez Jr. I'm the founder of Tag Talks Speaking Forum. I'm an 8-time author. I'm going to show you a few pictures and a couple of things of the stages that I create and that I'm on, and I explain to you a little bit about why I'm so passionate about sharing personal stories, how it started, why it started, and how using your voice builds the know, like, and trust. I'm sure you've heard that we need to have know, like, and trust in any transaction that we're doing in any industry that we're in, because what do people buy? Do they buy our product? No, they buy us, right? They buy us, who we are. And that's also how we get referrals, and I'll get a little bit into that also. So let me see if I'm able to share my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a 90-minute presentation in 15 minutes. All right. So I just want to show you guys a couple of things, a little bit about me, what I do, and then we'll open up for some questions and things. So understanding the power of your story. All right. This is what I like to teach and train. This is a webinar, like I was saying, that I usually do, but I'm just going to kind of run through it so you get a little bit of background on me. And then I'm going to share how you can use your story and inspire you, hopefully inspire you to share the good, the bad, and the ugly times of your life and understand how that builds the know, like, and trust. So again, my name is Raul Lopez Jr. Here's some of the stages that I've put together and that I've been on myself. I speak for a lot of different companies. I've done some I'm assuming that everybody here is from different brokerages and different real estate companies and things. I've done some corporate events for like EXP, Lion, and some different companies. And so I do a lot with real estate, being a real estate investor. Right now, I'm not active, but I've done a lot of real estate investing. These are just some different places, like I said, that I've been on, different courses that I teach, different trainings that I do to help people make money using their voice. Did you know you can make money using your voice? That's the key, right? Especially everybody here. I think you guys know that because your job, you're in the people business, I call it. So your job is to talk to people, build a know, like, and trust, and sell yourself without actually being salesy, right? That's kind of the key in it. I do a lot of different events. I do them all over the United States. In fact, I have one. I'll tell you guys about it. I have one coming up here in Irvine, September 20th. It's gonna be an incredible 1 full day event of training and how to use your voice and a lot of really cool stuff. But in Newport Beach, we rent yachts out and we put people out there and have some fun on the yachts as part of our masterminds and all of the cool stuff that we do. Here's 2 of my 8 books. This is my core. Okay, this is where I started in this business, and I started in this business just sharing my story. The title of these books are "Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear." The subtitle of the first one is "Learn the Importance of Understanding and Expressing Your Emotions." The subtitle of the second one is "Transforming Childhood Trauma with God and Psychology." This book is not just for men. The way it's titled is because it's my personal story, childhood trauma, broken, wild, and crazy life. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that in just a minute. Here's a book series that I've created where I've studied, worked with some gurus throughout life, and I take their 10 best techniques, and I've created this book series. I also take experts like many of you here, and we also put them and we do a book on them and as part of this book series. I have my Tag Talks company book series where people who come and speak are looking to be authors, speakers, and coaches, or they are already. Then we attract a lot of entrepreneurs. We target a lot of entrepreneurs, just like what we're doing here, to help you and inspire you to understand that using your personal story is valid in your sales and in meeting people and building that know, like, and trust. So what we do with this series is basically everybody that you see these pictures on these books is they've come and spoken at our events, and we transcribe their talk into a chapter, right? So we transcribe it, we edit it a little bit, we make it readable versus a speech. And then when they're done with this, they have professional videos of their talks. They're in a book and they're author speakers. And I always teach people, if whatever you're talking about on a stage, whatever story you have, if you're talking about it on a stage, it should be in a book. Or if you've already written a book, whatever's in that book should be, you should be speaking about it on stage. And what comes with that is the automatic authority, credibility. And the next thing you know, people are asking you to coach them. So the author speaker coaching goes together. What else I got? Oh, this is my speaker's blueprint book, Unlock Lucrative Speaking Gigs. Everything you need to know templates, everything that's in this book about how to get paid speaking gigs. All of these books are available Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, anywhere that you can think of. Here's just a couple of pictures of our events. At my events, I showcase authors, speakers, coaches. They their books out, they sell their books, they sell their service. Just promoting other people. Tag Talks. Oh, did I say TAG stands for transparency, acceptance, and growth? I don't even think I mentioned that. But Tag Talk stands for acceptance and growth. And so we showcase all these different authors who come out and have personal stories to share with the world. This is some of the fun stuff that we do. Like I was saying, we do these different masterminds and we go out and we hang out and we do fun things in different places. So just a couple of pictures of where we go. I've been blessed to have incredible people at my events. I think all of you guys know who Tim Story is. He's a local Southern California guy. Tom Billio, I think actually he's Beverly Hills down here somewhere too. David Meltzer, I just hosted, co-hosted the David Meltzer show. It just launched actually, I think this month. The season work with a lot of incredible people, have a lot of fun with these guys. Shark Tank, I was backstage at the Shark Tank. That was really fun. I had an incredible day backstage over there at Sony. The one who's come and spoken at my events, Patty Stinger, just a lot of cool people. I've been to a lot of cool places. I've been able to get on a lot of cool stages, just sharing my personal story. The whole thing is started with me sharing my personal story. This is just some images of like our social media. These are all a lot of the speakers that we have, how we market them. We could create graphics for them. We help them be seen, help them get found in all our social media, YouTube, and everything we do on our landing pages and etc. Oh, my boys. This is my little guy. He's actually bigger now. My mom right there, my son and my daughter. And a couple of these guys down here on the right, they're my grandsons. I'm blessed to have 7 grandkids from age 1 all the way to, oh, I think he just turned 17. Wow. I'll tell you about that, having all those grandkids and how that all came about. It's a wonderful thing. This is my daughter and her family. These are my little grandbaby, my little granddaughters. Man, they're so beautiful. I love them so much. And then at the bottom, there's my oldest son. I'll tell you about him. I'll give you a little hint. I conceived him when I was 13 years old, and I'll tell you a little bit more about my life in just a minute. Before all of that, this was me. So I'm gonna get into my story a little bit now, and I'm gonna bullet point it and do it as quickly as possible. But before everything that you just saw that I do in my life to help serve, love people, help people grow in business, help them make money, help them transform their life, mind, body, and spirit, this is where I was. And I'll tell you how I got here with a little bit of my story, and I'm gonna bullet point it, okay? Let me take this down now because I want to be able to see you guys and talk to you guys about what we're doing and how important it is and how in going from San Quentin to where I'm at today is possible simply sharing your story. So you can do that with anything that you want to do. Okay. You guys are in the real estate industry. There's ups and downs. There's all these new and old and all these rules and guidelines and everything that changes all the time. But understanding the power of you and who you are and that you have everything you need to be successful, and I know that because from me, it's come from above, then you can be successful. I'm sure here everybody has had a hard time. Is everybody here had a hard time in their life at some point? So you've survived every single hard time you've ever had because you're sitting here right now watching this call, right? You survived every single hard time. Has anybody here ever had the perfect life? If you are, we all want to meet you and beat you up. Okay. If you had the perfect life, we all want to meet you and give you a good one. Then you'll understand how we feel. Right. Anyhow, okay, let me go back to my book, Heal the Boy and the Man Will Appear. I'm going to bullet point this because it takes 90 minutes usually to share. Way back, and I do this with a lot of our clients. We story, right? And then we get their speeches together, we get their books out and the whole thing. But going back 0 to 7, incredible life, mother, father, siblings from when my mother met my father, she had 2 children. When my father had brought one, and then together they had me. So we had an incredible family of his and hers and all of us together growing up in San Jose, California. I was very attached to my father, right? I always tell people like the earth needs the sun to survive. That was me and my dad. Like we were one. I loved him. He was my daddy. Very just anywhere he went, follow him and hide in the back of his seat of his car, and I'd end up with him in class in college and played, wrestled, and just had a wonderful time. And at the age of one day, my mother came home and I'm playing with my dad in the garage, and she said, "Son, get in the car. We're gonna go for a ride." And I said, "Okay, no problem, Mom." Not unusual, right? I jump in the car. My dad's staying home. in San Jose. This is, I'm gonna give you my age here. Growing up in the 70s, right? In San Jose, it wasn't Silicon Valley and what it is now. Apple wasn't there, Microsoft wasn't there, any of that. In fact, it was all orchards. And that's how my family landed into the San Jose Bay Area. My grandmother came, migrated there, and they used to pick the fruits and the cotton and everything else that was there. It used to be all just big orchards and fields. And then we stayed there as a family, and we grew and we grew and we grew, generation after generation. So when my mom told me to get in the car, it was not a big deal. Got in the car. I figured I was gonna go to my grandma's house, somebody's house. And next thing I knew, I'm on an airplane and we're headed to Alaska. And I was a kid, 7 years old. I'm walking to this giant plane. I'd never been on a plane before, so it was exciting, right? I wasn't thinking about anything. He said, "Wow, look at this cool plane." So I got on the plane. Let me see. I'm trying to look at for age groups here. Does anybody remember Wolfman Jack? That old DJ, Wolfman Jack. Yeah, he was from back in the 70s. But the Alaskan Airlines, I think they still have them. They have pictures of Eskimos on the side of the plane. I remember just walking and looking and seeing this Eskimo, but I didn't know it was an Eskimo. I thought it was Wolfman Jack. And I said, "Hey, Mom, why is Wolfman Jack on the side of this plane?" And she just laughed. She said, "That's not Wolfman Jack." Anyhow, we got and we had a great time. Flew to Alaska, snow, snowmobile, all this kind of stuff. The first day we got there, wonderful time. Next morning, I wake up and I look at my mom and I go, "Hey, Mom, where's my daddy?" And she looks back down at me and she says, "Don't worry about your dad. You're not going to see him again." And it shifted my entire life, my mind, my body, my young little 7-year-old body. Didn't understand emotions, right? The subtitle of my first book, Learn the Importance of Understanding and Expressing Your Emotions. I Adults don't, and they don't teach express their emotions. Emotions are an energy, okay? Emotions, energy in motion. So what happens when you suppress any type of energy? At some point, it's going to explode. Have you ever seen people that are really quick to anger? Just like on the freeway, they flip you off, they go crazy, they start honking, or even in the streets talking or something. Just a minor little thing happens and they just explode and they go crazy. It's because they're filled up to here with anger and anxiety and all of these energies that they're suppressing, right? So at the age of 7, I had no idea that emotions were an energy, right? And it's very easy to express joy, right? How many people here have a favorite baseball team or their kids play sports or something? And whenever there's a score, woo, you celebrate, right? You're jumping up and down and you're celebrating. You're expressing an energy and you're not even realizing it. You're just celebrating, right? How hard would it be for your son, your daughter, your grandchild, whoever it is, when they score to just sit there like this? It'd be very difficult because you're excited and the energy is going to be expressed. Unfortunately, so often when we get angry or somebody insults us or something happens, we hold it in. We just, oh man, that person this, that person that. So at the age of 7, not understanding any of this that I'm talking about, when my mother told me that, internally it just broke me. It twisted me. There was sadness, confusion, depression, anxiety, just all of these negative emotions that I had no idea what they are. And they put me on a whole new directory of my life. My childhood ended at the age of 7. I was broken. I lived in this fog for many, many years. By the time I was 9, I was doing drugs. At the age of 13, my boy I just showed you, we conceived him. Okay, he's a wonderful boy now. He just turned 40. My son is 40 years old. He has 2 kids. And so he was conceived at 13. And then at 14, I got incarcerated. And between the age of 14 and 24, I was in some form of facility. For the majority of those 10 years, I was never out of any type of facility for more than 30 days at a time over those 10 years, ending up in San Quentin prison. At the age of 15, I was titled, I didn't know if you guys know this, but they will title a child menace to society. And they do that, menace to society. This kid is a menace to society, and they so that they can take you from your parents. They took me from my mother and made me a ward of the court, and that's how I ended up in the system for so many years. At the age of, I think, 15 or 16, they registered me as an alcoholic. I used to be on the streets, get in a lot of trouble. I was just lost. I was broken based on this trauma that happened to me that I didn't even know was a trauma. I didn't know why I acted the way I acted, did the things I did, or felt the way I felt. It was a pretty wild and crazy time in my life, just being lost in this darkness and in this fog. So having those 3 questions and going through all of this life, just like Johnny said, I did learn over the years, and I'll get to it, where life didn't happen to me, but it did happen for me. So all the good, the bad, and the ugly, it happens for us because we gain wisdom from it and we can share it with other people, right? So, being in San Quentin, I always had those questions, like I mentioned. I had these visions, right? And I can't get into some of those now. I'd love to share them with you if you guys can want to come to one of our events. But I had these visions, right? And I didn't know they were God at the time, but I would have these physical visions, like out of my body and different type of things. And I made a decision, right? A true decision to change my life while I was there. Horrible place. I don't know if anybody here has been to prison, if you have family who's been to prison, but it's a horrible place. People die in prison every single day. Every day somebody dies, and it's not in the news and all that type of thing because it's so common. Sadly, it's so common there. Um, so getting out of prison, I paroled back to San Jose, California, and I knew, and this was before I even got into self-development. I call it God. I knew something, intuition, something told me if you don't move out of this area, you're going to end up right back where you've been these last 10 years. And it's time to change. It's time to change. It's time to make a true decision to change your life. A true decision, you don't look back. When you make a true decision, you don't look back. And an easy example of looking back and not following in with the true decision so commonly is a diet, right? So many people go on a diet and they go, I'm never gonna eat cake again. I'm never gonna eat this again. But the next day you're eating that cake or chocolate bar or whatever it is that you love to eat. A true decision, you don't even think about the chocolate bar. You don't even think about what you were or how you were. You go forward. You make a decision and you move forward. Right? All of you guys made a decision to be on this call right now. All of you guys made a decision to get into real estate industry. All of you guys made the decision to get on Johnny's team. A true decision of growth and change is how you change. So I made a decision to change, and I went to my parole officers and I said, I have to move. I got to get out of this area because if I don't, I'm going to go back to prison. And he said, you can't leave this county for 3 years. He said, you're on parole. And I said, I got to get out of here. What do I need to do? And I think he saw that I wanted to change my life. And my mother had moved to this little town way Northern California called Cloverdale. It was a little tiny town. It's probably huge now. It was a little tiny town. And she had bought a big property and she had a little rental unit on the side. She said, I can go stay there. So I told the parole officer that. And he said, hey, here's what I can do for you. You can go there and you can ask the county if you can move in. And if they'll transfer your parole to them, then you can move there. So I go to the county. I have a meeting with this parole officer. And he tells me this in short. He says, I'll tell you what, Raul. He says, you can move to my county if you go to college. By this time, I'm 25 years old. I didn't even graduate from high school yet. And I look at him and I just said, okay. And he goes, and I didn't even know he's talking, go to college, right? I'm like, in my mind, the type of person I was at the time, like, I was like, whatever, you know what I mean? And so he says, no, you don't understand. You need to bring me a piece of paper telling me that you're enrolled in this junior college, Santa Rosa Junior College, and you can live in this county. So I said, okay. So I went, I had no idea. I didn't know what AA was, a bachelor's degree, a master's degree. I had no idea anything that had to do with education. So I go to the school and I go, hey, I need to take a class here. What do I got to do? Somebody said, go to administration. And I'm like, what is administration? What does that mean? They said, that's where you go and you sign up for a class. I go to administration. I go, hey, I need to go to school here. They say, well, you can't just start. You have to have an assessment. You do an assessment. So I do this assessment. They come back to me and they tell me, you're not even close ready for college courses. And I said, well, I need to come to school here, right? I had made a decision. And when you make a true decision and you are going after something, you will receive it. Have you ever heard seek and you shall find? Do you understand, or do you look at a little bit of manifestation and how it works? When you're going after something and you don't even think anything else about it except for that target and what you're going to get, what you're going to do, what you're going to achieve, it will happen. It's when we worry and when we concern about things that things don't happen. Because what does it also say? As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. In your core, if you want something, you will have it. So I said, I need to go to school here. What do I need to do? And they said, listen, there's this little trailer on the side of the school. You can go there and get your high school equivalency. And I said, if I do that, well, let's say I go to school here. And they said, yes. So I signed up. I took it to the parole officer. Here, I'm signed up. And they said, good, you can move to my county. He gave me a bunch of million rules of who I could hang out with, area I could go, and all this stuff. But I moved. I moved to that county. I started going to college. It took me 2 years to get my GED, my high school equivalency. It took me 2 full years, man. It was like, holy crap, I didn't realize I'd missed so much school growing up, in and out of facilities and all these things. Got to college, courses finally. One of college GED, I just did my GED. I mean, I just took GE when I got to college courses, general education. And one of general education courses that you have to take is Psychology 101. I took Psychology 101 and it changed my entire life. My professor for Psychology 101, she's Native American and she practiced her Native American spirituality. Up in that area where I live, there's a couple of cultures and Native American tribes and land up there. Practicing her own spirituality, and she combined spirituality with psychology. Man, my mind just exploded with all this information and spirituality and God and all these things that I had no idea existed. It changed it. When I talked about directory, changing my directory when I was 7 years old, this changed my directory again. Why? Because Psychology 101 answers those three questions I told you I'd been asking my whole life. And I'll paraphrase. If this happened to you as a child, you may feel like this. If this happened to you as a child, you may act like this. If you and so on. It answered the three questions, and that was just like it was like wow, there are answers to these questions that I've been asking my entire life. So two things came to me. One was I couldn't believe there were answers. I was like, wow, there are actually literal answers to my three questions. And the other thing that came to me was, if it's in this book, it's not just me. There are millions of people asking these same questions about their life. And it opened me up because sometimes when we have a problem, we seclude ourselves and we don't want to tell anybody, right? We just kind of hide it. I mean, oh, I'm okay. How are you? I'm fine. I'm good. I'm okay. Right. No, everything's good. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And we put on this mask, right? The tears of a clown thing. We put on this mask and we act like everything's great, but there's something going on. I realized that it wasn't just me, and secluding myself and being quiet and acting like everything was okay is not a good thing. That's also suppressing that energy. So I realized so many people have this problem. So I got off of GE and I started studying every type of psychology, every type of neuroscience and genetics. And I started studying everything, mind, body, spirit, all of this stuff, all the way to Stanford University. I wanted to study with the best psychologists there were. I looked it up and they said it was Stanford. So I went to Stanford, paid for classes out of my pocket, changed my whole life. I understood the whys. Why do you do what you do? Why do you act the way you act? Why do you feel the way you feel? More importantly, why don't you do the things that you want to do? Are there actions that you need to take that you're not doing? Are there decisions you made that you're not following through on? There's reason. There's a reason for all of that. And it has to do with conditioning, the way we were brought up, the lies that we were told. And most of it comes, unfortunately, from the people who love us and our families. They're not you what they know and what they believe to be the truth. Don't go do that. That doesn't work. All this stuff. I can't afford that. I can't afford this. Mom, can I have this? We can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. How many heard that as a kid? I heard that many times. Oh, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. Or, right? And some of these things are lessons. Not everything that we're taught from our parents is bad. But my mother, she's like 4'5", little tiny woman, raised three kids by herself, and she groomed dogs her whole life. She had her own little shop. She was an entrepreneur. I think that's where I got it from. Little shop. She would groom 30, 40 dogs a day, sell bird supplies and pet supplies and all this stuff, grooming dogs, cutting their hair, grooming dogs, cutting their hair. So when I was like, Mom, I need a new pair of shoes, she'd say, come and wash dogs, right? And she'd give me $2 or $3 per dog that I would wash. So I'd go down there into her shop and then big bathtub, we'd put dogs in it. I'd just wash the dogs up real good and I'd make 30, 40 bucks and I'd go buy myself a pair of shoes. So the conditioning of we don't have the money, we're broken, all that type of thing, that's not a good thing. But you know what? The conditioning of working my butt off to make some money, that's a great thing, right? Now, with that said, it's a great thing to understand the core and we need to work hard, but there's also another side to that. Using our brain, using our heart, using our wisdom, understanding life, opening, broadening our mind to there's so much more than what we know now. It makes things easier, right? It makes things easier. So I'm gonna close with the miraculous change that happened that really shifted me to who I am today. Okay. When I got through studying all of this psychology and the science of the mind, the body, biology is a science, right? The brain is a science. What you eat matters. I want to tell you that. What you eat matters. I learned this through my own seeing counselors and psychiatrists and everything else working through my stuff, right? What you eat matters. There are foods that actually create depression in you. There are foods that are antidepressants. There are foods that create anxiety, anti-anxiety. What you eat matters, but everybody's different. So you need to study, do some research, and recognize how you feel. This is what I started paying attention to. Because your dinner is the most, I don't want to say it's the most important meal, but it's a very important meal for how you feel the next day. What you eat in the evening time is how you'll start to feel the next day, right? So when I would wake up with anxiety, extreme anxiety, I've always, my whole life, I've always had extreme anxiety. I would pay attention to what I ate the day before. And then I wouldn't eat it for a while and see if the same thing happened. Then I'd go back and I'd eat again and see what happened. And I did this, and it took me a long time to figure this out because most of the stuff that I know and I learned that I teach, I figured out on my own. But now I teach people to what I call full time. If you're trying to get to somewhere, like you guys are here now with Johnny, if you're trying to get to somewhere, and you don't know how to get there, find somebody who's doing it. Find somebody who's successful at it now, right? And full time. Don't figure it out on your own. It took me 35 years to figure my stuff out because I did it on my own. I was secluding myself, like I told you. Anyhow, after I learned all the science, the mind, and the body, and all this type of thing, I understood all those whys that I had mentioned to you. But then there was still something wrong. Wrong. And I had learned to pray and meditate. I met an incredible pastor. And, coming out of that prison life, I have to say, back then, I was that prison type of guy. So, like, don't look at me and feel sorry for me because I was in prison, because I was a knucklehead. I did a lot of crazy things and I belong there. So I had that mentality and tough guy, the way I walked in this whole subculture that I call it of prison life. And I met this pastor and he saw me, he saw through me, and he would grab me and he would hug me. And it was so uncomfortable because I didn't, as I mentioned, I didn't have my father. So it was uncomfortable for a man to touch me, right? And I would be like, get away. But he just hold on to me, tell me, I love you, Raul, I love you. He'd say, come back to church and learn to quiet your mind. Did you know you can quiet your mind? Seriously, that's a real question. Do you know you can quiet your mind? Because my mind used to run like this. From the second that I even came conscious waking up in the morning until at night, it would run like this. And most of it was negative. What did you do? What did you do now? What's going to happen? What didn't you do? What do you need to do? Just run, 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 run. It would drive me crazy. That's where anxiety comes from. I'll tell you something I think you guys know. If you're thinking about the past and things that have happened, that's depression. If you're thinking about the future and what might happen or what might not happen, that's anxiety. So how they talk about living in the now. Live today, live for this second. Pastor told me, quiet your mind, soak in prayer. To me, that's quieting my mind and meditation, right? I learned this also. When you're praying, you're talking to God. When you're meditating, you're listening. When you're praying, you're talking to God. When you're meditating, you're soaking, you're listening, and you will hear from God. So I learned to quiet my mind. It took me a long time. I had to practice and practice and practice. I can teach you guys how to do that too, if you have that challenge. But when I learned to quiet my mind and start to soak in prayer, like I'm standing here now, I ended up in this field and God spoke to me. And I want to tell you about this field real quick. When I was growing up and I had those questions and I wanted to change, why do I do, why do I act, what do I feel? And I wanted to change, there was this wall. It was like this metaphorical, whatever you want to call it, wall. Whenever I would try to improve my life, I would run into this wall. And it was weird, I could see it. Now, and I'll give you guys my age again. Does anybody here remember Pink Floyd, The Wall, the album? It's basically the album is just a brick wall, right? And that's what I used to visualize. That's what I could see when I would be trying to change my life. I just hit this wall that I could not go any further. So when I would see this wall in dreams and meditations, and I worked with some renowned psychiatrists, psychotherapists, right? One of them was Tony Robbins. Tony Robbins, I mean, his therapist, her name is Madonis. Her last name is Madonis. I can't remember her first name. Chloe Madonis. And I was working with her, and I was telling her about this wall. And she said, can you picture a door in the wall and go through it? And I was like, I can picture the door, but I can't, it's locked. Can you put a ladder on the wall and climb over it? And I said, I can put the ladder there, I can't climb it. She said, what's on the other side of the wall? And I could see, when closing my eyes, I could see on the other side of this wall, I sensed freedom. And I said, freedom. She goes, what do you mean freedom? And I said, I don't know. You asked me what I see. I see freedom. Beautiful fields, blue skies, purple skies, trees, just this wonderful place. And it feels like freedom to me. So this was the wall that I'd been blocked with my entire life. Some of you guys have a wall. You may not even know it, but there is a block, right? You're going to get to a certain point and you just stop and you don't know why. And sometimes we take 10 steps back, right? That's a whole other conversation. Taking those steps back, coming back, taking the step back and coming back. That's a pattern, a paradigm, but that's a whole other thing I can teach. Anyways, I'm meditating and I'm in this field and the wall is gone. And I'm looking and I'm going, wow, the wall is gone. And I try to take a step and I can't move. Now I'm stuck and the wall is gone. The beautiful field is right in front of me. And I couldn't understand what was going on. Right. This is happening as though I'm talking to you right now. This is, I left my body, whatever it is, God pulled me to this field. And I stand there and I can't move. And I look over and I see this little boy. He's 7 years old. And it was me. And I looked and my first instinct was anger. And I looked at this little boy and I said, you're my wall? All of these years you've been holding me here? This little boy looks at me and he's just calm, peaceful face. And he just looks at me and he says, I'm not holding you here. You're holding me here. And just this wave of energy came. just this understanding, this wave of energy came my whole entire life. Just I was shown my whole entire life. And I realized that when that trauma happened to me as a kid, and I didn't talk about it, but I started getting made fun of at school because I would cry all the time and I was just depressed and all these crazy things and I was getting picked on. And at one point in my life back then, I decided not to cry anymore and that nobody was going to laugh at me anymore. And that's part of why I used to get in a lot of trouble because I would get rage. I would fight with rage from a very young age. And I realized that at that young age of 7, when I got broken spiritually, physically, mentally, emotionally, that I created an alter ego and I stepped in front of that little boy. And that's why I was so angry. And that's why I know I would get into fights and I had all this rage and I would do all this crazy stuff because I was protecting this little boy because he was so hurt. And when God showed me this little boy and he said, "You're holding me here," I knelt down and I started to hug him. And I said, "I'm sorry. I love you. You're the light of the world. I'm sorry. I love you. You're light. You're happiness. You're a joy." And all of these words just started pouring out of me to this little boy. And then there was a shift because I started to call him son. Something I didn't tell you. My father died at a very young age. He was 47. My mother left him because he was a drug addict and alcoholic, and I didn't know it. He was selling drugs, and people would come to our house and take our stuff because he owed them money. And my mother actually took us out of there to save us. I didn't know that at the age of 7. All I knew is I loved my daddy, and that I wanted him, and that I needed him. Died at a very young age, 47. I'm hugging myself. I love you. Your light, your joy, your happiness. And I started to call him son. Son, I love you. Your light, your joy, your happiness, son. Your light, your joy, your happiness, son. But I know this is me. And I'm going, this is not my son. This is me. And then there was a shift. My dad, who had passed away many years earlier, was hugging me. And I was hugging me at the age of 7. My father was hugging me at the age that I was. And he's telling me, I love you, son. I'm sorry, son. Your light, your joy, your happiness. And there was a healing. And we all three stood up. My father, myself at the age of 7. And God just spoke to us. And he said, I love you, my son. You are light. You are joy. You are happiness. And at that point, I understood life didn't happen to me. It happened for me. And God said, with all of the knowledge you have now, the love of a young child, the streets, the prison, the college, the studying, the psychology, with all that you have now, you're called to go help children, not live the life that you lived. I want you to go to juvenile hall and I want you to start sharing all of this wisdom that I've given you. The little boy appeared in my hand and something prompted me to put him into my heart. And I put him into my heart, but I took a breath and my heart softened. And at that point, I hadn't even realized it had hardened back in the day on that playground when I said, I'm never going to cry again. And no one's ever going to laugh at me again. My heart had hardened. And my heart softened. And the boy was healed. And the man appeared. Heal the boy and the man will appear. So I went out, I started sharing my story in juvenile hall. I started sharing my story in prisons. I started sharing my story at churches. And I saw the impact people had that had on people. And they would come to me and they say, Raul, your story is so powerful. I lived the same life that you did, but different. That's what they would tell me. And what I learned is that the emotional pain was the same. The pain was the same. And they said, can you help me share my story? I want to help people. And I said, yes. And I started coaching people, putting their stories together so they can help and share it with other people. Started putting them on stage. I created the stage, Tag Talks, Transparency, Acceptance, Growth, putting them on stage, getting their stories in books. I started helping people help people. That was the key. And then over the years of doing that, volunteering, helping, and serving people, I realized the people that became my core friends that I loved, that loved me, that built the know, like, and trust in life and in business were the people who knew who I was in my heart, who knew where I came from. They don't care about my successes. They don't care about all the stages I've been on. They don't care about all the books I've written. They care about me and where I've come from and the wisdom that I have to share with the world. You have that. You have that wisdom. Whether you know it or not, everybody said yes, they've had hard times in their life. Every hard time you survived, there's wisdom in it. So I'm going to tell you how to use your voice. And I've taught this to many real estate agents, how to use your voice. And I don't care how long you've been an agent, whether it's been 6 months, a year, 2 years, or 20 years. When there's a hard time, when there's a dip in the real estate industry, who continues to have the most success? It's people that have been around 25 years because they have referrals that they've built up and teams that they've built up from all over the place, right? If you learn to share your story and let people know who you are at your core, people will remember you. I was telling Johnny this the other day. He came to one of our masterminds, our meetings. We had a great time. We really got to know each other and had some fun. And I was telling him, listen, there's great networking and there's great masterminds like what you guys are part of right here in real estate and coming together and inspiring people and so on and so forth. But as the agent, you need to get in front of everybody. Outside of what you learn here, you need to get in front of everybody. And a lot of agents that I've seen in the past, they create meetings for the buyer, for the seller, for somebody specifically wanting to do something with their home. Okay, that's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But you want to build up referrals? You need to get out there and share your message, share who you are, why you're so passionate about helping people get into homes, helping families get into homes, giving them the best pricing, the best deals because you care, building a know, like, and trust with them through your personal story and who you are. Because tell you what, if you're in front of a room of 100 people, 10 people, 1,000 people, whatever it is, even if they're not interested at the time in buying or selling a house, but they know who you are, they know what you do, they're going to remember you because you connected with them emotionally. Remember I said that? Emotional pain is emotional pain. They connect to you. So it needs to be authentic. It needs to be real. And you connect with these people. And they're going to go, even though you've been an agent for a very short time and you don't have all the referrals, they're going to be talking to one of their friends and their friend's going to go, hey, I'm trying to sell my house. I'm having a hard time. I can't find anybody. They're going to go, oh, I met this guy. I met this girl. She's so awesome. He has this great story. You need to meet this agent that I know. They're gonna refer you based on who you are and the openness and the authenticity and the hard times that you've had. There's a guy that I know, he does very well financially. And when I see him speak, all he ever talks about is his 10 Ferraris and private jets and everything else. And nobody cares. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But the true story that he has, and I try to teach him, hey, share the true story, or not the true story. That is true, but share the real story. Because this guy was sleeping in his car 10 years ago. I go, that's what people want to know. That you were sleeping in your car, in your little Explorer, whatever he had, and today you have 10 Ferraris. That's what people want to know. Build the know, like, and trust. Use your personal story. Understand how to structure it. I can help you with that. September 20th, I'm doing an incredible event. You guys need to come. Put your story together from 20 minutes all the way to 90 minutes, depending on who you're talking to, the interview that you're doing, or a client, potential client, whatever it is. Understand how to share your story. I had to learn how, because think about this, as a young lost man, being incarcerated and all that type of thing, that's a subculture that I call it. You know, that, and I think some of you guys probably have family members, or maybe you've even been through that type of life. When we're young, I think the more time we have, the cooler we are. That's a subculture. And it's extremely sad because it still happens with youth. The more time we had, the more cooler we were, right? We think about how much time we're going to get and when we're going to go to prison versus going to college and studying and transforming our lives. Shift your mind, understand you have a story. Put it together the right way. And the reason I was telling you about that young man is bragging about things. We don't want to brag about things that we have or that we've done, good or bad. We do want to be able to share with our accomplishments with people, right? Confidence is different than bragging. Confident, here's what I can do for you. Here's who I am. Here's where I've been. Here's what I've come through. They're going to remember you. You're going to build the know, like, and trust just like that. Johnny, is it okay if I share a link to my event that's coming up?
Yeah, definitely. You'll be selfish if you didn't share that, bro. I'm gonna hold you accountable.
All right, buddy.
I think the last mastermind that I was with you, guy, this is no joke, and I'm not making this up. Raul mastermind literally, he put an arrow on my throat. Actually, you know where Sandra was there, and with the power of quieting the mind and shifting that energy, I was able to break. I don't know if you have that video. Shit, I should have saved that.
I might have it. We videotaped a lot of people that day.
Oh yeah, huh? Angelina saved it, correct? Huh?
Yeah. Let me take a look. I'll look for it.
Yeah. Put an arrow in my throat. It's a wooden arrow, but just by quieting, going through a training with Raul, quieting the mind and shifting that energy, we were actually was able to like break that arrow with just slightly pushing my torso towards the arrow, and it breaks in half. Like that's the power we have when we quiet the mind and we shift that energy. Yeah, it was amazing. It was your first time too doing it, correct?
Yeah, with the arrow. And in fact, because I bring people into our events, I bring different coaches into our events, and they'll teach different topics. And these guys were incredible. Exercise, right? Break a board or do something like that. Was out and I saw them and I thought, okay, we're gonna like break them, right? Like we're gonna like do something and break them or something like that. And then when he showed that we were gonna stick them in our throat and break them in our throat, my first mind thought was, I ain't doing that. I ain't breaking this arrow in my throat. And then he took us through an incredible process of understanding our power and who we are and just belief and how to do it. And we all did it. It was incredible. Like talking about breaking a fear, right? So I put a couple of links in there. One of them is to the event. Okay. It's only 97 bucks. It's a full day right here in Orange County. It says on the links, it says Newport Beach, but at Regency, but there's a Hyatt Regency right by the airport that's easier to get to for people that fly in because people fly in from all over for these events. And it has a nicer venue. So I'm trying to switch to there, but either way, it's going to be in Orange County. It's all local here. September 20th. I'd love for you guys to come and join us. And then I also put a link in there. It's a course that I actually sell for $997. I created a link there because this is Johnny's group and Johnny's a great guy. We're going to be doing some stuff together. I'm giving it away for 49 bucks. It's a whole course, 12. It has all my ebooks. It has a templates, how to put your story together. It has a bunch of videos of me interviewing other people about corporate speaking, personal stories, how to pitch from stage. Has everything in there. It's only 49 bucks. So I popped that in there too if you guys want it. But I'd love for you guys to join at our live in-person event, September 20th. You got plenty of time to book in the whole thing. And then if you want that course, if you want to learn how to speak and share, you can buy that, purchase that for only 49 bucks. And if you want to work with me, I mean, you can reach out to me. Johnny, is there something that I could, put my email in here? How about that?
Yeah, go ahead and put your email and your phone number. They can reach out to you. They can text you, and I know you can send them the link. Personally being in your mastermind and talking to you, your story, it's amazing. Like I said, we're gonna be working together, and keep promising you guys, keep bringing value to you guys. It's up to you. You guys want to take action, but it's very important. And I know we talked about it last week. The power of storytelling.
I want to open this up for questions just real quick so you can kind of see. I didn't get into it. We do it at our event, but personal branding and business branding. Okay. I didn't bring it up purposefully, but if you Google me, okay, Raul Lopez Jr., you'll see everything that I do and everything about me. If you Google Tag Talks, you'll see everything we do, all our speakers and all the fun stuff that we do there. And that's what we help you do too. We help you get found. That's the key. You need to be seen and be found. If somebody is searching for a real estate agent in Orange County or whatever city, wherever you're at, you need to come up. And we can show you how to do that organically, right? And that's why I say Google me. Because see everything that pops up. I didn't pay anybody to do any of that for me. I learned how to do it and I figured out how to do it. And I'm able to full time and show you how to do it too. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I'd love to answer any questions I can for you guys. I mean, it could be about my personal life. It could be about business, how I can help you. Whatever you have, I'd love to share with you. I appreciate you guys listening to my story. I love to share it. I hope it touched some of you. If there's somebody you know that's in that darkness, that's in that trauma, and they don't know why, I'd love to work with them. I'd love to reach out to them, connect me with them. But here I am, and I'm open for questions, guys. Thank you.
We got one for Martha, Raul.
Martha, how you doing?
Hello, you're the guy I've been looking for all my life.
Wow. Right on. Hopefully in business wise, because my girlfriend will get really mad if she heard you say that.
Yeah, last year I wrote my story. I have a book as well, and I would love to connect with you. I have a podcast, and I think that you can help me just 10x it.
Absolutely, I can help you. That's great. Where are you located?
I am in Orange County in Los Alamitos area.
Okay, super cool. So my email address is in there. The second letter is a J. It looks like an I. It's RJCCORP1 @gmail. So feel free, that comes directly to me. You can email
Yeah,
me.
and Pastor Tim's story is my pastor. I go to his church in Yorba Linda.
Super cool. Yeah, I've been to his church a couple of times. I love it out there. Yeah, I've done some stuff with that. Yeah, I think you saw a picture. He's come to my events. I've come and spoken at his events when he does his Tim Stories live. So yeah, I know Tim well. Excuse me.
Okay, great.
All right. Well, I look forward to hearing from you. Connect with you. Do you have a specific question that I can help you with?
No, I understand the power of what you said, your story, and sharing it, and everything happens for us, not to us. And I've had a lot of challenges in my life, and that's what I share in my book. And
good.
I want to be able for you to help me how to use those challenges and turn them into stories and sharing and helping others.
Absolutely. You are exactly who I love to work with. What's the title of your book?
I can do all things.
Ah, great. I love it. Cool. Excellent. When you email me a picture of it or something, or send me the link if it's on Amazon, wherever it's at.
There
I'd love
it
to.
is.
Excellent. Oh yeah, there you go.
Can
I
you
can do all things. Love it. All right. Anybody else have a question? Something I can help you with?
I think Marisela has her hand up. Marisela,
All
hit
right. Maricela, I don't see you, but if you want
Hi,
to add.
I'm Maricela. I'm here.
Hi.
I'm signing up. I'm signing up for your $49 class and the meeting for $97. I don't want to
Outstanding.
cry in front of everybody,
Mm-hmm.
but I had a lot of death in my family. Number one is my son, and I can't get past that. And my mother too. She died from cancer, and I separated from my husband. And I can't get past those three things, and it happened to me within the last 3 years.
Mm.
And
I get it.
Johnny, actually, his classes keep me alive every single day.
Wow.
Anyways, I don't want to make everybody more sad than I already am. But I really look forward to meeting with you.
Thank you, Maricela. Thank you, Johnny. Maricela, please reach out. Send me an email. I'd love to talk to you, work with you. I'd love to connect you with my girlfriend. I mentioned her name is Angelina. She does a lot of work with people in the exact situation that you're talking about. So please reach out. I appreciate you getting our course. I look forward to meeting you in person at the event or even previously before that. We're all local here. So thank you. Thank you for being open and honest and sharing. I look forward to meeting you.
Thank you. Sharing. Thank you for sharing, Maricela. And just to reaffirm, we're here with you. All right. Smile, be grateful you're alive.
Yes, we are.
Brand new canvas. Raul's here. Everybody's here supporting you. You're not alone. You got everybody. We have a group. You can reach out to us.
Absolutely.
Same thing with the community. You guys have a number.
Connect.
We're one unit. Stop being selfish. All right. Together we can accomplish more. All right, Maricela, reach out.
Yes, please do. 100%.
Awesome.
Any other questions I can help you guys with?
Richie from Vegas.
Richie, what's up, my friend?
Hey, what's up, Raul? Thanks for being here, man. Thank you for going through everything you've gone through. The question I have for you is, I don't know, and it's the thing I'm curious. I mean, that's why I'm asking it. Is you said earlier in your speech, you know, more importantly, what is the reason why you don't do the things you want to do? Is that normally tied to different traumas? Is that tied to different perceptions of whatever story, you know, you decided to start telling yourself? Is that answer, you know, why I need to come see you in California?
Yeah, no, very much so. There are reasons for everything we do, act, and say, react, things we do and that we don't do. And it all has to do with our specific culture, right? And I think you guys know this already, but culture has nothing to do with race. Culture has to do with the environment that we grow up in, right? Did you grow up in the hood? Did you grow up in Beverly Hills? I mean, you know, what did your family eat? How did they act? What kind of jobs do they have? What kind of business do they have? Culture is the environment that we grew up in. And based on our culture, we have blocks, right? And we have these limiting beliefs. We don't think we can get things done, or we try things, or our parents, maybe our family have told us we can't do things. So even though it's a subconscious thing, we're not even thinking about it. Just as soon as something comes up, we automatically think I can't do that. The other side of it is visualization, right? Sometimes we can't visualize what we want. We can't picture it because we've never been there. So a lot of the work that we do is we help you actually visualize, picture, and feel the place you want to be in your life. So yeah, there's reasons for all of that. It all has to do with psychological conditioning from birth, our culture, and everything that we've experienced growing up. So I'd love to help you with that.
Thank you, Raul.
You're welcome.
Awesome. We got Maricela. Thank you, Richie. Marisela?
It's not a question. It's more if he can share the links again, because somehow on my end, it's not showing up anymore, the links. So I can pull it up. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So this first one is the course. And then let me get the ticket link. Also, you'll see on this ticket link, it should be on there, that if you're interested in speaking, sharing a message, and having me coach you to share your message at the event, we have packages for our speakers, and we market them, and we put their talks together, we promote them, we videotape your talk after we help you put it together, and then we get you seen and we get you found out there. So I just put both links there.
Nice.
Any more questions?
Any other questions? We got, let me see. What do we got? I got my handy dandy timer, man.
Yeah,
I saw.
I have a question. I have a question.
Okay.
Because you were in prison for a good 10 years of your life.
Yeah, from 14 to 24 was the majority of those at that time. Yes.
So once you were over, well, I don't know if you ever did get over that life, but once you were out of that life, how did you prepare for the world without the confinement?
It was really tough. It was really tough. And like I had mentioned, I did a lot of things on my own. I wish I would have met people and been more open to understand. And that's why I'm so passionate about helping and sharing story, like helping folding time, like I said. There is such a thing. It's a true thing of institutionalization. And it was very hard for me to stay out. There's this thing that's like a draw. It's a pull. I don't know. If you don't understand it, it's a good thing. But there's this draw to go back. Like there's this pull to go back. And I remember really battling it and just praying through it. And it was a battle. It took me a good 4 or 5 years, honestly, to really feel secure that I wouldn't go back. I used to have dreams that I would go back to prison, and it used to scare the heck out of me. So I just had to focus on my kids, and I focused on school, and I just focused on my family, and I did the work. I had made the decision, and I did the work, and that's what it takes, nonstop. And to this day, I do self-development. I mean, I'm studying all the time about the heart, the mind, the body. I'm praying on a regular basis. So it's a nonstop growth opportunity for us. And I want to tell you something else. If there's anybody here who's been in this life or knows somebody in this life, this is my heart, is to help people, young men, who think their life is over when they've gone to prison. Right. I remember being at a young age, and it was like, oh, I'm in prison now, and I have felony, and no, I'm never going to get a job, and this and that. When I got out of prison, and I made that decision. I worked for 2 different, over the years, Fortune 500 companies on corporate management teams. Okay. You can do whatever you put your mind to, like I mentioned, right? If you want something, if you truly want something in your heart, there's nothing that's going to stop you. You go apply for it. You go ask that person, you make the phone call. Nothing can stop you if you just go and you make that determined decision.
Very good. I already signed up. I was probably the first one.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. I look forward to seeing all of you guys. Oh, next time. Oh, go ahead.
Who was that?
Froze. I don't know if that's me again. Question.
I think that was it.
I just wanted to say thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you,
Melissa. Oh,
Yeah, I'm going to be signing up for your course, and I want to work with you one-on-one. So I appreciate you coming on here. So I'll be reaching out.
Thank you. Well, you know what? When Johnny has these live meetings too, I'll be coming and hanging out. So I'd love to meet all of you guys, but we don't have to wait till then. My email's there. Everything's there. Reach out to me. Everything comes to me directly. Okay. I mean, that's the other thing that I really enjoy about what I do, is I work with people one-on-one. You'll see a lot of these companies, and they'll talk to the guy who owns the company or created the guy or the gal. And then when you sign up, you don't see them. That's not me. You'll meet me. You'll work with me. We'll make sure that we get things done together, and I'll help you in your life and in your business and all that aspects of life.
awesome. Thank you. Yolanda, you got 30 seconds.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah,
There were so many. Well, thank you so much. And it was great listening to you. And on the food thing, that's really important, because I was listening to Chick-fil-A and the stuff they put in it, and Popeyes, and then you were talking about that. So I was like, oh my gosh, we're killing ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah. No, 100%. And maybe another time or at a meeting.
Mhm.
time here, but I'll give you some of the tips and tools that I learned over the years about what to eat, what not to eat, and that type of thing. And obviously processed foods is no good, but I'm talking about healthy foods that still can create anxiety in us and different things. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you guys. I
Thank
love you guys
you.
all. Thanks so much.
Crazy you talk about it, Raul. It's actually part of the 13 success rules that we have. And it, number 7 is what you put in your unit, especially 12 o'clock. When you think you have lunch, go get it in and out. Guess what happens in 30 minutes? You take that nap, and now it's all you wake up 3 hours and you do it. That's the importance of it. So whatever you put and you fill your unit, and that's your biggest unit, your body. You got to be real careful on it. But once again, Raul, I want to thank you. I appreciate it. I don't know if you know this, but you're stuck with me. You ain't going nowhere. I know where you live. I know where you do your events. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart, man. You being here. I know you're a busy man. Thank you for taking the time and pouring on us with so much value. So I appreciate it.
All right, buddy.
Yeah, man. That's it. We like to end the call every time with a little bit drip of 10x. Today is control, and it talks about no matter how it may seem, no one has control of your life but you. And I know you touched on this, Raul. Nobody else has control of your life. And that's what makes it so special. You have control. You have the ability to change. And like Raul says, make that decision and shift it. And the great thing about this community, and we're going to keep growing it, and I know Mary's here, we're partnering up with other communities. We're going to do it together. But I need you guys to take action and pick up the phone, text us, call us. We're here. Raul will pick up the phone. I'll pick up the phone. Richie will pick up the phone. Just remember, you're not alone. But I need you guys to take action and pick up the phone. All right? Awesome, Raul. You guys have an amazing day. Great day. Just make sure you guys make it a 10x day. I'll see you guys.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Blessings. Love.
Thank you, Raul.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.